went to Ireland last weekend. Literally, just the weekend. I was there Wednesday to Monday. It was my first time traveling abroad, like out of the US at all. And I did like the normal Ireland stuff, like, you know, I saw some ocean and some old stuff and churches and graveyards. It was awesome. But what I want to talk about today is more the lessons learned from the trip rather than what I actually did. Now, first of all, I went on this trip alone because I wanted to show how independent I am. I don't need no one to go out and explore the world. And also because I couldn't find anyone to go with me. I saved up, I planned, and I went completely solo. But when I got there, I had to be super dependent. For one thing, I didn't have a working phone. I had a phone that only worked in America. So I had to ask people to do all these things that I could normally do myself, like make phone calls or look up train schedules or call a taxi. And it was really frustrating because I didn't even want to open my mouth because I suddenly became very aware of how American I sound. And I just didn't want to be that silly American tourist who had no idea what she was doing, even though that's exactly what I was. And then I didn't have my own car, which is something that I'm used to. I'm used to that freedom of being able to go wherever I want, whenever I want. And then suddenly I had to rely on public transportation and taxis, and it was really difficult. Like one day I wanted to go hiking in the mountains, but there wasn't public transportation out there and taxis were way too expensive. Or another day I actually got stranded somewhere for like an hour because I had to wait for a taxi, but they were all booked and the trains only ran every hour. So it was like I didn't have an option except to sit in this little shop for an hour until I could get somewhere. And it was really rough on me. But it also made me realize like a lot of people have to do this every single day. And I'm really privileged to have a car and to have that freedom. And I'm not going to take it for granted now that I have it back. Another thing I learned is just how like American-centric my view of the world is. I was born and raised in the US of A, and I, like a lot of Americans, had never left the country. But I have traveled a lot of America. You know, I've been to about 45 states. I've lived among people from many cultures. You know, I thought that I was well-traveled and cultured, but I was missing so much. This is a really small thing, but pretty telling. I didn't realize that most of the stores I go to are American things. Like, I only recognized one store in Ireland. One. Honestly, I didn't even know what the EU was until the UK decided to leave it. But like, actually being there, I kind of got it a little bit more and how important it is. And also the kind of restrictions that come with it. And the history in Ireland. Like, America is so new. Like, so new. Our oldest stuff is like 500 years, which would practically be considered new by Irish standards. I saw a book in Ireland from the 800s. Like, 800s. And like, all over Ireland, they just have ruins and they don't even know how old they are. Like, 1,000, 2,000 years old, who knows? How can I consider myself a history nerd, which I do, if the oldest place I visited is only from the 18th century? And finally, I just got so much context for what I already knew about Ireland. My family's about 50% Irish, and my mom is super into history and culture, so I thought I knew quite a bit about Irish culture. But actually being there was like stepping into your favorite story and being able to live it out. There was just a whole world there that I had never seen. And I learned more about Irish history apart from how it affected my family, because my family came over to America during the Great Potato Famine, and that's pretty much all I knew of Irish history. But when I was there, I learned more about the Irish-English conflicts, the Catholic-Protestant conflicts, and it really opened my eyes to like, wow, stuff happened after my family left Ireland. And that stuff is really important to their culture. And I consumed a bunch of European media, from books to movies to television shows, but actually being there was a whole different thing. But the biggest thing I learned is that I really need to travel more. Even though I'm dehydrated and jet-lagged and broke, I want to book my next trip right now because it is totally worth it. Huge shout out to my huge supporter Shelby, who has commented and liked every video I've made so far. You can follow her here, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do that here. Don't forget to like this video and comment with what your dream vacation is. Stay classy, y'all.